Okay, I'm just setting up the live stream. Please bear with me. Okay, I have a second screen now showing me the live stream. So we should be good to go. So yesterday, or maybe the day before, Leonardo finally released the MD-80 family of aircraft that they've developed, the 82, 83 and 88 for Flight Simulator 2024. Let me just check the volume levels, make sure we're all good. Yeah, it looks good. So this was a bit of a favourite amongst the study level crowd for 2020, and for good reason. It's a very, very close simulation, apparently, of the real aircraft. So yeah, some of the professional pilot YouTubers that have flown various different aircraft over the years were absolutely bowled over by this aircraft, by the accuracy of its system simulations, as far as I understand. Anyway, we're going to go and run through starting it up. I did write a checklist for this in 2020, or a procedure I should say, but I've increased it enormously. So here's the new one, Flight Sim 2024. There's a link to it in the notes of the video, and I've put a lot more information in it. So it goes through, the whole thing's been rewritten. It's taken most of the day to write it up, to be honest. So it goes through programming the flight management computer, which it never had before. So you can see there's over a page of that, just to go, going through the routines of pressing everything you need to go through it. And then there's the getting the cockpit ready. There's doing engine start. And then there's taxi, takeoff, and then just some general notes for, obviously, because once you're in flight it's different every time, so you can't really document that. But it goes through telling you everywhere to look, everything to press, everything to do. So, without further ado, I've got it open on a third screen on my desk, and we're going to go and walk through it together. I actually love the way this aeroplane looks in the simulator. It's a bit beaten up. It's a bit kind of second-hand looking. It's yeah. It looks like it's had some life, which is always, I think, a good thing in the sim. So let's go and jump inside. It's much quieter inside, as you might expect. Oh, let's have a look at the route first before we go. So we're going to take off from Austin, and we're going to fly down to this little airfield on the border between the US and Mexico called, I have to try and remember this now, Harlingen, but the actual airport is called Valley International. Okay, so we'll be doing this lengthy standard instrument departure out of Harlingen, out of Austin Bergstrom, and then arranging our descent into Harlingen, so it should be good fun. So if I was going to pick one for the simulator, that's really difficult because I like both. They are both good. So just like answering Saren's question there in the live stream, the F-28 and the MD-88 family are both very, very good. So is the 146. This is the trouble. The aircraft are becoming so good now, it's really just down to your preference of what sort of planes you like flying. I would say this is a lot more manual. There's a lot less integration. But then, yeah, the F-28 doesn't have any integration really either, does it? Because it hasn't got modern systems. This is kind of a halfway in terms of systems. In terms of you have got... It wasn't retro, or the guidance system wasn't retrofitted into this aeroplane. It was designed for it, even though it looks a mess. There's lots of videos about this aeroplane, or this family of aircraft, on the internet. When you look overhead, notice all the switches are all different. It's almost like they raided a spare parts bin, but there's actually some logic to it when you think about it. In the dark, feeling around with your fingers, all the switch ends are different. so you can kind of figure out where you are. Anyway, there's a whole study of ergonomics and things like that that informs that kind of thing. Okay, so we can use Shift-C, by the way, to walk around if we really want to. So we could go and walk around the aeroplane and have a close look at it. And you can see it's a bit of a mess. It's, like I said, it's had some life. So, come back in with Shift-C. So we're going to press Shift and 5 to go overhead. And we are going to go and find the battery switch, which is here, and put it on, and then roll the mouse wheel down, which rotates the end and locks it in place. And you can see some systems come on around the aeroplane. Things are booting up. So let me go and put the start pump on. And then we go to the APU and we go to the starter for it, and we roll the mouse down to start. And you will hopefully see in a few moments the RPM will start to ramp up. Takes a while. There it goes. So if we go and look outside and look at this side of the aeroplane, you'll see heat starting. You can see a bit of heat haze there. That's the exhaust port right there for the APU. And obviously you can hear it as well. So we're just waiting for the RPM to come up to 100 on the APU. When it does so, the bus transfer switches will light up over here for the APU, and we'll be able to switch power over to it. So here comes the RPM. Look, it accelerates as it goes round. So this will come on any moment. The warnings are, what's the word? We were expecting them. Expected, that's the word. So we've got the APU up and running. So left and right bus have been switched over, which you can see there. So then we're going to go to the flight management computer. So Shift and 1 brings us down here. Notice it hasn't come on yet. It takes a while to boot up. So we're going to be sat here for a moment. So while we're waiting for, here it comes actually. Notice there's a bit of a bug here. I'm not sure if we can fix this. Can we remove the drawing of the pilot? If we hold the button, the power button on for the tablet to boot it up. I wonder if we can hide the pilot. Flight mode. Don't think we can. Anyway. Yeah, so you can see the airplane is booting up as we speak. So we can come down to the FMC and press pause in it. We can pick up the GPS location into the scratchpad, drop that into the FMC position, then we can put in our reference airport. So we are taking off from KAUS, Austin Bergstrom. So KAUS, reference. We don't need to put a gate number, so we can go to route. And we are going to KHRL. KHRL. Okay, we are departing on runway 36 left. And now we can put our routing information in if we have any. Now, I haven't actually put any routing in because it's such a short route. I guess we could if we wanted to have a play with some routing. How might we do it? So say we went via this Siroy waypoint just to make it a bit more interesting. So we're going to start at CRP. Okay, so we don't put a via in, we just put CRP in here. And it should say direct. There it goes. So we're not doing airways, we're just going to go direct. And then Siroy. And again, it's direct, there's no airway. And then the final one, or the one that joins on to the start, or sorry, the approach in this case, is foods. So we go next page and put in foods. So if this looks similar to a Boeing FMC, well done. It is. So activate the route and then execute it, and then we can go to performance initialization next. So similar to the Boeings, it's probably the same developers, to be honest, of the real units, which is why it's so similar. So cruise altitude, how far's the route? So 200, yeah, let's go for 360. Oh, are we going east or west? We're not. So I would say it's going to be slightly east. So east is odd, so we'll go 350. We're going to, yeah, this is where it's going to get interesting actually. Let's go and have a look at how we do the fuel, because we're just going to put some fuel in. Weight and balance. At the moment the airplane has this much fuel. So to configure the airplane, you go to, now I'm going to get this wrong, Leonardo. What's it called? FMC. It's the load manager, isn't it? LM, there we go. Mad Dog LM it's called. It's in one of the folders where it installs the airplane. So when you install the airplane, you get this application and it connects to the simulator. You can see it says connected. But this is where you can configure your load out of the airplane. So we've got about quite a lot of fuel actually. So, and again, this plane's got an enormous range. For this little short flight, we've probably got enough fuel. We can also see the fuel in the tablet, I'm guessing. Let's go and check that. I've not tried this yet. Flight performance, mass and balance, fuel. So we've got about 40%. This will be interesting actually then. So let's go run that LM, Mad Dog LM. So this thought it had a takeoff weight of 57 tons. Okay. Unless you can do random loading. Obviously you can import an operational flight plan if you want to get the numbers from it, or you can just go and reference the operational flight plan to do this. What I was interested in having a look at is, if we alter this, does it alter the app? So if we took this up to say 70 or 70% fuel and load it, I didn't notice it change in the aeroplane. Did that move? It didn't, did it? Interesting. We'll see how we get on with that anyway. So we'll leave that there. Yeah, because I've not checked some of these things myself. That's funny, isn't it, with the microphone? What were we going to do? I'm just looking back through the checklist to see how far we've got. Yeah, we were going to go and fill the numbers into the tablet. So we want to put in the amount of fuel we've got. So if we go back, we can, if I do this from this view, I'm just going to move the camera so we can easily pan between the two. So what we're going to do is go to the weight and balance. So our, what do we want? The block fuel. Yeah, we want the block fuel. Fuel on block 70. So yeah, 7 tons. 7.0 essentially. So 7. Now notice you can't do that. You have to put 7.0/N. And I've got this documented. So there we go. So that's put the fuel in. Now we're going to put the gross weight in. So that's going to be the takeoff weight. So that's 58.4. Then that calculates the 0 fuel weight for you. We'll just put reserves of 1 in. This is just a test flight today. It's got a cost index there. Again, we've not got an operational flight plan, so we'll leave it as is. We've got a transition altitude of 18,000 because we're in the States. Obviously, we could change that if we weren't. So then we can go through to the takeoff calculations, and we want the V-speeds. So we need to go over to the app for the takeoff calculations. So the airport is KAUS. And we are departing on 36 left. What's the wind? We can find that out on LittleNavMap as well, I think. So if we go weather, we've got 2, 6, 7, 15 knots. 2, 6, 7 /1, 5. Enter. So we've got a crosswind basically. That should be enough to go calculate. So, we've got takeoff weight as well, which it hasn't put in here. It's a shame it hasn't done that for us actually. Let's go and go back to weight and balance. So takeoff weight was 58.4. So back in performance. So 58,400. Enter. It's in kilograms actually. I didn't notice that before. Calc. And we got 140, 145, 154. So 140, 145 and 154. Okay, so we got the numbers. And then we can go and do the rest of the routing. So if we go to departures and arrivals, we're taking off runway 36 left, that's already activated. We are going to do this peculiar SID, Palm S3. So next page, Palms 3. And execute that. Come back to the index. Go to arrivals. And we are not doing a star, there aren't any. But we are going to do this ILS into runway 36. Now, it might not be on here because I've not done a Navigraph update, so we might get something a bit strange here. ILS, I don't think there is an ILS 35 because I've not updated the database on the aircraft. We might have to choose something a little bit different then. So let's go and show the procedures and see if we can find something similar. So what about this Avea? So 36 left is almost the same. RNAV Z, which will be longer. Interesting. That's almost the same one, the foods one. There we go. That makes sense, doesn't it? So that would be RNAV 35 left. RNAV Z 35 left. RNAV Z. RNAV 35 left Y. Next page. RNAV 35 left Z. So that one. And it hasn't got foods. Great. I'm just seeing if we've missed anything obvious here. But it's got Allude, Botv and Carnes. This is what happens when you don't have the databases matching up. What was the Carnes one? What about, it hasn't got Botv either, has it? But it has got Carnes. Unless there's more further down. No, there's only 3. Let's go for Carnes. I'll just adjust LittleNavMap to match it. So execute that. So let's go and choose this one and insert that. So it's just changed the routing ever so slightly. Okay. So we can go back to route. And we can go to, we've done the init refs, haven't we? Yep. So we can go to the legs page and see if we've got any discontinuities. So next page, there's one. So between foods and Carnes, obviously. So we went to Siroy. Why has it still got foods in there? Previous page. There's Siroy. Okay, so what we'll do is pull Carnes over the top of foods and execute it. Yeah. So where it did have foods, which was over here, look, it still had it in the flight management computer, so we just removed it. Okay, so that's that done. So check the legs. You can check the legs as well while you're looking at the legs page if you press Shift Space. Now, I've not tried this myself, so we'll see if we can get the right mode to appear on the nav display. There it is. So there's no marker on this roller, which is really quite annoying. So now we've got this, yeah, there's a bug here in the route. So we're going step 30. Oh no, that's correct. Step, 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 step. Yeah, that looks correct. Okay, oops, wrong button. Legs takes us both to the start. So it's just projecting the initial course, but we're not going to be doing that. We're going to be turning right immediately. Okay, so we've got the basics in, we've done the gross flight plan check, and we're going to go and get the rest of the cockpit ready. So MCP over here, we're going to go and put the flight directors on for the pilot and the co-pilot. So you can see suddenly the guidance information is showing up. Set the auto throttle target airspeed for takeoff, so we'll set for 200. Select the navigation mode as required. So we've got the route in, remember, so we should be able to press nav and it comes up. We'll use vertical speed instead of VNav because I want to have something to play with along the way. So we're also going to go then and set the altitude to 35,000, which is going to climb straight out. And you can pull that and then it highlights it down here. We want vertical speed as well, don't we? So we're going to go and set that here to 2,500 feet a minute. There we go. And we can set this to the runway direction. I think it's north, isn't it, anyway? We're on 36 left taking off. So it's 356 degrees. So we could turn that round a bit if we wanted to. Again, you have to... Oh, here we go, sorry. That's the turn rate, the bottom of the knob. So this is 356. So notice if we pull this, it's gone heading select, but if we go nav, oh, it stays on, that's fine. Good. On the external lights, we're going to put the anti-collision lights to on. We don't want the strobes on just yet. And the hydraulic pumps are down here. We want the trans to on, auxiliary to on. And then to set the bugs on the airspeed, because we program them in here, we can shortcut this and just click on them and it will slide them into place for us, which is really handy. Standby attitude indicator, we have to uncage it, so we pull it twice. So we pull it the first time and then pull it again. I don't know why you pull it twice. You'd have to go and read the pilot operating handbook of a real MD-88 to find that one out. Pedestal, the rear of the aircraft. We're going to go and put the TCAS onto TA mode just to start broadcasting our position. There we go. And then at the rear of the pedestal, so we have to use the keys to come back a bit, we have to open the pneumatic crossfeed valves. These are the valves that allow the air to get to the engines to spin them up. So here's a good bit. This is a fun bit. So the center of gravity and flaps calculator. This is a mechanical calculator. So we're going to adjust the CG to the match the takeoff weight CG in the weight and balance app. So we're going to go and look over here. Going to go back to the weight of balance app. You've got the takeoff weight CG 12.4. So whoops, this needs to be, it's on about 12.4. Okay, that's good. So then the flap setting needs to go to flaps that we have chosen. So let's go and have a look at the takeoff calculator again. And flaps are 3.5. That's a really low number. So 3.5. So then that gives you adjust the trim to match the calculator using the long trim lever. So it's giving us 0.6. Or 6, I should say. So we need to move the trim that way. So we can roll the mouse wheel. We can either do it with this, or we can use trim if we've got it mapped to something. So I'm just moving it myself, look. To about 6. I think the marker, it's got like dotted lines along here. So it would say, you know, there'll be dots between 6 and 7 and 8 as it goes along. So that should be good. We need to put the flaps to the same level that we've chosen. Again, this is later in the procedure really, but we'll do it now just to show you how it relates. So that has to match what we chose in... Okay, oh no, it's 3.5. That's interesting. Normally it'd be 15. Have I done something wrong here? Anyway. Prepare for engine start. Shift and 5. We'll soon find out because we'll get a klaxon on the runway if we've not done things right. So pumps to on. Fuel pumps. So on. Did we actually have any fuel in the centre tanks? We can see it in the Mad Dog app, can't we? Centre 0. No. So there's no point putting the centre fuel pumps on. You'll just get a low fuel or low pressure warnings if you do that. So APU air goes to on, and we check the pneumatic pressure down here. It's gone higher than 4, and it has. And then lights, so no smoking, can go to auto. Seat belts we put on auto as well. You could leave them on, wouldn't hurt. Emergency lights can go to armed, just the middle setting. So then on the glare shield over on the co-pilot side, we want to go and put the strobe lights to position. And we can do pushbacks. So I don't think we need to push back from where we are. We can just, we can taxi straight out of here. So, I'm going to start the engines. So rotate the ignition knob, which is here, to both. And then we're going to start the right engine first. Oops, we have to roll the mouse wheel on it, otherwise it doesn't stay in place. Do you notice the pressure drop there? That's because it's using that pressure to spin the engine up. So you can see the RPM is coming up. And then when it gets to 20, we'll advance the fuel or start lever here. So 18, 19, 20, advance, and it will go through. Okay, so when that has spun up and started the engine, I'm not sure what, I think you go by percentages to know if it's done it. There you go, look, the relay's just kicked in. So it cross feeds the power itself, or does, sorry, it does bus transfer, I should say. So that engine's up and running. So you can take the starter back off, and we can uncage the left starter. Whoops, roll the mouse wheel on it, not click it. And you'll see the N2 is coming up, so that's the gas turbine axle. N1 is the turbofan. And obviously you've got exhaust gas temperature in the middle there. So it comes up through 20, we introduce fuel, and you should see exhaust gas temperature will shoot up as it ignites. There it goes. And then the turbofan will start spinning up gently as the turbine increases in speed. So once we've got the engines both up and running, there is a way of turning off the pilots, and I can't remember it off the top of my head. I think there's a click spot somewhere to do it. So yeah, so we're going back overhead, having started the engines. The start pump can come off. The ignition selector can go back to off. The APU bus switches can go to off because the engines are already providing electric power. The air can go to off from the APU, and the master for the APU can go to off, turning the APU off completely. The ice protect we can now put over to the captain's side. We can put the air conditioning supply to auto. And we're ready to taxi. So we come down and we put the nose lights on to whatever setting we want for time of day or our operational procedures for our airline that we're using. We release the parking brake. Now, to release the parking brake in this aeroplane, you have to push this plunger down. So if we go and look outside, we should find out we can gently increase the throttles and we start moving. So I'm going to ignore the ground traffic and just taxi straight through it. Apologise for that one. So let's try this out with head tracking. It's very quiet. The MD-80 family are very famous for being quiet in the cockpit because the engines are right down the other end of the aeroplane. So literally all you can hear in the cockpit are the cooling systems. And the oxygen system, obviously. So we're just going to taxi out to the runway. I think sounds are very subjective in the simulator. Just reading the live stream comments there, I think it's probably still the same sound set that came with it, but I know there were some aftermarket add-ons, weren't there? So I would imagine the same thing will happen. Okay. We're getting there. So obviously all the messages have gone now, which is good. Yeah, it's interesting that it's saying flaps 3.5 for takeoff, which obviously is not what we've got here. I'm going to go 15, so we may get a warning that this doesn't agree when we open the engines up. Let's just have a check of this. So if I go Alt 7 to stop this and go... One, two, three, four. That's interesting, isn't it? Oh, there we go. So I'm ignoring the calculator, so that does mean the trim's wrong. Look, that's gone to 7 now. So we're going to move the trim on the long trim to 7. It says we're going to do a 15 degree flap takeoff. We're ignoring the numbers on the calculator. So let's go and press Alt. There must be a way of removing the pilot. I just can't remember how to do it. it does have charts in here, so I've already hooked up to Navigraph. So we're just taxiing along here, by the way, and then we'll come round onto 36 left. I know the real-world pilots, commercial pilots that have been playing around in the sim, love this plane. A, because the simulation of the avionics systems is accurate, but also I think the flight model is accurate as well. You know, the numbers on fuel burn and speed and behaviour in the wind and stuff is dead on. So, should we go and put this back to arc mode while we're at it? I think that's it. Slow ourselves down a bit. It doesn't turn wonderfully. So, head tracking back on. So it'll be interesting. It's a long time since I've flown this aeroplane in the simulator. It'll be interesting to see what I've forgotten. So we've got the modes are all configured for the autopilot, so we should be able to use it pretty straight, in a pretty straightforward manner. So just before we do get out to the runway, I just want to check a few things. So I'm going to put the parking brake on. Let's turn that head tracking off a second. So the autopilot on switch is over there. That's what I was looking for. I couldn't remember where it was. Just wanted to get familiar with where things are before we need to use them. Okay, open the engines up again, roll us out onto the runway. Notice that's a 2020 pilot alongside me. Okay, so having lined ourselves up, we're not quite over to the left enough. Let's just do that. Put the parking brake on for a moment. So we're going to go and put the landing lights on. We're also going to go over and put the strobes to both. We're also going to go and engage takeoff mode on the throttle management system. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to do this without head tracking so we don't have to wobble around. I'm just going to put the view so I can hit autopilot as I need to as well. So off the parking brake, ease the throttles forwards. Obviously from outside it's a lot noisier. Look at the smoke. Keep it in the centre line. We got that crosswind, haven't we? It's trying to it's really tough look. It's really pushing us. Coming up to rotation speed. So 140 was the minimum one, wasn't it? It was V1. There's VR. So rotate. Having to give it a bootload of, oh my word. The wind is really nasty. Gear up. So we got the calculations right. So I'm just starting to autopilot on. So auto throttle on. So let's see what happens with the throttles. Stabilizer motion. Flaps up. So I'm just looking at the gauges. It's diving. Why is it diving? Is it not taking account of the climb? Yeah, we need to come off the power. Take the auto throttle. What's going wrong? Yeah. No, the flaps are up. What's it? Oh, have I not got things configured quite right? No, the flaps are up. Again, this is me being rusty. So let's go and turn that off. Turn the auto throttle back on. Are they going to engage?
Stabilizer mode, landing gear.
Doesn't like it, does it? So what have I forgotten? The auto throttles are not coming on. How strange. What have I missed? So it says it should be climbing at 25. It's not, it's flying level. Almost stalling. How strange. So now it's trying to get to 2,500 feet a minute, but it's gone straight through it. Oh, it's trying to command it, but it's coming back down. I know it will be slow to react. Okay, let's get it under 100% on the engines so they don't flash anymore. You see the temperature's gone through the roof where we were racing them. Can I just have a look at what this is doing? So this has ignored the flight plan so far. Let's get the yoke out of the way. Can we get the yoke out of the way? Yes. Oh, yes we can. So we should have done a left turn. So it's almost like the guidance just isn't kicking in. Let's go nav. Okay, maybe we're too far away from it now. Go heading mode and spin ourselves around. It is starting to level out on 2,500 feet a minute. Obviously it's losing a little bit in the turn, which you'd expect. So we'll try and get it back on track. So it differed actually from what is LittleNavMap's often wrong, but it differed quite a lot there, didn't it? It was going to take it out further before it did the turn. So maybe it would have done it if I'd been more patient. Now it's trying to climb again, but it's way too slow. Maybe that will help. We just tried to push it beyond its envelope. Interesting. So, the fun thing is here, we're actually on the track that it had on its navigation system. Can we bring the range of that down a bit? Still going really slowly, isn't it? We're at full throttle. Only asking for 1,500 feet a minute, which it's doing. Yeah, we just asked for too high a climb rate on the way out. It's slowly recovering. So going for 1,500 feet, it's actually accelerating now. Yeah, it's a lot happier. So let's go and see if we can go back to nav mode then. And yeah, we're close enough to the track now that it's taking over, I think. So let's see if it does a steep left turn. Or right turn even, sorry.
Stabilizer motion.
No, it still doesn't like it. I wonder why. So we should be in the climb descent. I did used to know what all these codes. I need to put all of this in the start procedures because these codes are really important. When it says CLMP, for example. Yeah, there's something wrong in this routing. There's some vectors in there. But we want to go straight down to palms. So what we could do is select palms, put it up to the top. This is how you do a direct to on this model of system. That's interesting. Look, it's vanished completely. That is really not helping when it does that. You know, if I didn't know any better, I would say this doesn't know where the aeroplane is. Even though we've got no warnings. Oh, it's still got the speed brakes out. I would say it doesn't know where the aeroplane is, you know. The GPS maybe is not working. So let's put ourselves on an intercept course anyway, because we removed the routing. So we could have done a direct to, couldn't we? Actually, that's a good point. If we put an extra waypoint in, say somewhere close, Gipor. So we're going to be too fast to get on the mount, aren't we? That stupid microphone is really getting on my nerves. So let's go and put in Gipor. Okay, so we put a waypoint in right in front of us. So let's go nav mode. Now the plane did wiggle. Let's go vertical speed mode on the although it was already on that, wasn't it? What about on the speed mode works? So if we say 250 knots, just give us 250 knots to get to altitude. So it's dipped the nose to get to 250. Coming up through 15,000 feet at the moment, which means our barometric pressure is wrong. If we press comma, what will it do? So it's on 2992 anyway. We didn't do it on the runway, did we? We're still getting high temperatures. Why is it still reporting high temperatures? And this is still saying heading select instead of... So it's using heading select. It's doing it now, nav track. We were too far away from it earlier. It's working. Yeah, so I'm just reading the live stream comments. So Craig's saying he usually uses the VNav with no problem. I'm trying things out. This is the first time I've flown this plane in maybe 2 years. So I'm kind of throwing the kitchen sink at it and trying all sorts of things out just to You know that whole thing where the Formula One drivers get in a new car and they put it in the wall on the first few laps? That's what I'm doing. It's the best way to learn is to try stuff. And then obviously by your second or third flight it becomes really obvious how to do things. The one I can't remember, I'll have to go and watch old videos, was how to get it to smoothly transfer from an initial climb I'm just watching this to see what it thinks it's doing. It's about to roll left. Okay, so it's put itself on a 45-degree intercept, but it's probably going to waggle around all over the place now because it's not fast reacting enough to do that. But yeah, from past experience, I'll have to go and watch some of my own old videos. There was a very specific way of getting it to transfer from vertical speed to like a managed VNav to get it to do it accurately and neatly. So if we go to VNav, it's going to go for 900 feet, look. That's interesting, isn't it? And that's obviously targeting 300 knots immediately. That's interesting, that's still flashing though. It's the same temperature as the other one. Is there something weird about the engine? I was just thinking we haven't left a cover on it or something. It still hasn't raised the leading edge slats. Is that on me? Yes, it was. That's a problem with my controller. I remember that now. The Airbus controller is terrible. It will take it to 0, but it won't raise the leading edge slats for you. So it's something you have to manually go and do. We are getting there though. So yeah, we've got quite a vicious crosswind, 85 knots. Obviously it's saying VOR fail because we haven't tuned any in. So if we go and... Are there any VORs anywhere near? It's 109.0 for the Victoria VOR. Let's go do that. It should update if we're within range. What's the range of the Victoria VOR? Was it... Oh, it's only 40-mile range. Great. There's nothing anywhere near us. Oh, there's the... that's a Vortec though, isn't it? So that's got 130-mile range. That would work. 112.8. Yep, that's working. It's lit up. So we've got distance from it behind us, obviously. There's just a lot to remember. Unless you fly this thing regularly, you're going to make mistakes. So, should we go to... Oh no, we're only at 19,000 feet. It's going to take a while to climb, isn't it? It was just that kind of that memory of... the aeroplane's too slow reacting to do any kind of tight routes on, you know, sort of SIDS or stars on the autopilot. You have to be ready to go to heading mode. It's not great at following really complex or tight plans. I wonder how we cancel the flashing. Exhaust gas temperature. Or if it's a bug, maybe. I doubt it is a bug. There probably will be a way, if you dig through the manual, to cancel it. Yeah, I'm not going to go delving around too much today. This is really just about me reacquainting myself with it and learning the way around it again after all this time. Yeah, VNav worked as soon as I switched it on because we had everything programmed in. I mean, looking on the legs, it's got all the numbers for it. But I was just using vertical speed as an initial mode to try it out, but we went for too high a vertical speed off the runway. It couldn't hold it. So I need to look up what all the different codes mean. So we're still in climb. We've retracted the leading edge of the wing as well. I'm still not confident that the auto throttle is working, because if I move them, are they going to... No, it is working. The throttle is now not moving. So I presume I would have to take auto throttle off to... Yeah, they are moving. Okay. Good. Let's just check the volume levels, see what it's looking like. Yeah, it's okay. So if we zoom out a bit further on the display, you should get the green banana. Yeah, we can just see it now. Look, there it is. So there's our route via CRP, then down to... So CRP, then Siroy. That is a bit of a crosswind. 112 knot crosswind. Oh my word. That's mad, isn't it? So what's the wind on the destination? 360 degrees, 20 knots. Gusting 26. So it's coming straight down our nose on arrival, which is good. It seems to all be working now after the bit of a panic on takeoff. Again, I just didn't have the numbers right for takeoff, that was all. I wish there was a way we could stop that flashing. You know what? I'm going to look it up on a different screen while we're flying. And hopefully resolve it for myself. So I'm going to go off to the almighty Google Gemini and ask it. In the MD-88, if one of the EGT numbers is flashing, how do you stop it flashing? Question mark. So it means at some point it was it exceeded, which we know, because we went over 100% on takeoff. Here's a breakdown of what it means, blah blah blah. Cause of flashing, addressing the issue. Primary action is to reduce the EGT. In critical situations, blah 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 blah. So is there no cancel option? Maybe just Google doesn't know. There could also be faulty sensors or wiring issues, and I think this aeroplane does simulate stuff like that. So how do we cancel a flashing EGT sensor? Did I still have ignition on? Ignition, pumps off, ignition system's off. Oh, that's it, well done. I missed it on the checklist while I was busy talking. It's actually on the checklist, I missed it. This is one of the failures of trying to record YouTube videos. While you're busy talking, you tend to miss stuff out. And yeah, we left one of the starters on, so it was flashing because of that. That's interesting that it didn't have a warning on the display or any lights on about it. Let's just try that again. If we put the starter back on, no, it doesn't cause any warnings to appear. Or not warnings, but any notices to appear. Interesting. So it wasn't that we'd exceeded, it was just that the starter was left on. And obviously the starter's not going to achieve anything because the APU is off. So there's no air to send to the engine to spin it up. So it's just trying to ignite all the time. It would be interesting though to find out, wouldn't it, what the real aircraft does in that situation. Does it only try to ignite fuel when it's there, or does the start, how automated is the start sequence? If the engine's already running, does the start switch actually just not do anything anyway? That's mad. 113 knots crosswind. We didn't set TCAS to TARAD either, did we? Which we want. Because now we are... So this can do weather radar as well, somewhere. WXR is off. So VHF... Where are the controls for it? Don't need the landing lights anymore either. They should have been off quite some time ago. Under those lights. I'm just looking to see where the weather radar controls may be. My memory is failing me at the moment. There's the auto brakes. Yeah, I missed that as well on takeoff. This aeroplane's great, isn't it? It's like a load of retrofitted bits of other aeroplanes were bolted together with no real rhyme or reason as to where things were put. But today's flight is not an example of how to operate one of these at all, by the way. I think we've kind of gathered that already. It's a fact-finding mission. I'm hoping we get down in one piece. I don't know if the breakers work. No, it doesn't look like it. It takes a while to get to altitude, doesn't it? So let's go and have a look, see if we can find out how to turn the pilots off. So in the Leonardo MD-88 in Flight Simulator, how do you make the pilots disappear? Oh, it's in the load manager. I should have remembered that. So let's have a good look at this while we've got some time en route. So here's the failures simulation. So it's all done through the load manager. So here we go. So we've got EFB, you can either turn it on or off. Kind of boarding music. You can have SimBrief integration if you want. GSX Pro. So where are the buttons? Oh, here we go. Avatars. Done. And our pilots have vanished. Fantastic. So let's load the load manager again though, because there's a load of stuff in there that's really interesting. So let's go through tab by tab. So this is obviously where you can configure your fuel loadout before you take off. So you would, if you had an OFP, you would get this to match it, obviously. Yeah, because it was pretty obvious. The airplane pays no attention to the load manager in the simulator. It uses this. So it's got a route planner for fuel, so that's going to estimate your fuel burn. So you can put your route in here. Okay, that would inform you how much fuel to put in. Should we try it? So we took off from, let's go and put our route in. So can we copy the route out of here? We can't put the full route in, we'd have to program it. Oh, that's a shame. So KAUS to KHRL, and our route is direct to oh, it's the Palms. Yeah, it doesn't know about SIDS or stars by the look of it, does it? Can we load a route? Mad Dog FMS route, PLN files. Okay, so if we go File, download a 2024 PLN for this. We'll put it in, yeah, it's in, okay, My Documents, LittleNavMap, Flight Plans, save. So load from Documents, LittleNavMap, Flight Plans, and we want the PLN files, that one. Is it going to work? No, it hasn't worked. Okay, let's try it by hand. So we'll just do the major waypoints. So we'll say we're going via CRP, Siroy, CRP and Siroy. So add direct to CRP. Add direct to Siroy. So yeah, it's working out like as we do it. Can we fetch the weather automatically? So is it figuring all of that into the calculations? I'm guessing it must. So we had 7 tons, didn't we? It's got only needs 4 to get there, which is kind of what I predicted, that we'd have way more than we needed. So we're just approaching. Are we turning already? So let's keep an eye on this. Yep, there goes the flight director. Should we see if they've got any further VORs further downrange from us? Kingsville. It's Takan, that's not Vortec, that's not much use to us. I don't think we can pick up Takan in this aeroplane. Rubbish. Why has the US not got many decent VORs around? 130 miles on that one, that will do. 117.2 from McAllen. Is there not one at this airfield? Oh, there is. But it's only got a 40-mile range, which is useless. So we'll go for McAllen. Just to have something on the screen. 11720. There we go. 106 miles out. There's an MCDU message apparently. Let's go and have a look. I've not seen this happen before in this aeroplane. So, how do we get to messages? No, there isn't. Does that mean we can send requests? Interesting. So can we do a weather request? So say we wanted the weather for our destination, KHRL. KHRL. I didn't know it had this. Send the request. Come back. And go to received messages. And we have a weather report. Nil. It brought back nothing. Great. Let's go and put it back on the legs page. So we're en route to Siroy. We need to start thinking about, we've got top of descent just coming. So we're going to go and dial in. Let's have a quick look at what's going on. So we need to be above 4,000 feet at Cairns. So we're going to target 4,000 feet. Okay, done. We're on, so flight level 40, basically. VNav is on. So let's see what happens when we get through top of descent. It should start descending. And there it goes. And there's the descent profile marker. Very cool. So it's starting to wind off the altitude already. The throttles are pulling back. Because we're still in speed mode, aren't we? We were targeting 250 earlier. Although I thought I went to... Does VNav not kill speed mode then in this aeroplane? Maybe it doesn't. So many questions to get answered. Yeah, there's so much stuff hidden away inside this aeroplane. You could fly it 20 times and still not know everything about it. So it's interesting we're not seeing a green banana, even though... Let's go and increase the range. Yeah, that's not coming down steeply enough. So I'm going to take over with descent. I wonder if we put the spoilers out, will it automatically be able to go steeper? Yes, so the vertical speed look is increasing the more we give it the opportunity to. Although no, it's still trying to hit the speeds. That's a bit rubbish. So let's go vertical speed mode. Let's use the spoilers to control speed. And we'll get it down to the altitude we want to at the time we need to. funny, isn't it? These older aircraft, you quite often have to intervene. Obviously there's an element here that I don't know quite how this interacts with the aeroplane, with the various modes, but it's interesting that I'm having to essentially go manual to get it down in time. And the speed is still creeping up. Look, it can't maintain 2,900 feet per minute. Maybe it can do 2,800 feet per minute. It's only just creeping up on the speed. I think it might just be creeping back now. Obviously as we descend, the air gets thicker, which helps it slow down. Or means you can descend more steeply. That's another way of putting it. It's interesting though, isn't it? This is such a different beast, this aeroplane, to any of the others. This is what interests me with the planes in the simulator, is when they are different or require a specific set of skills or techniques or procedures to operate correctly. That's when it really gets into my wheelhouse of being interesting. Because I want to know, how do you manage a given situation? Or how should you, maybe is the better question. The one that I used to know how to do was to get it off the runway so it didn't react when you switched on the autopilot. It would just smoothly continue on. But we saw when we took off, but again, I think it was because the whole root of my problems was I chose too steep a climb out. It didn't like it. So I think if you were going to go for like 25 or 2,000 feet a minute, your aim would be to achieve that by hand first, and then once you got it trimmed doing that, you could switch the autopilot on. Okay, let's go and reduce the range on the navigation display. Got an 86 knot crosswind at the moment. We're still just over 250, but we don't need to worry until we get to 10,000 feet. You can always reduce the descent rate slightly to get the speed down. So while we've got a couple of moments, let's go and have a look around. Because, can we not move the... Oh, there we go. Helps if you press the right buttons. So it has got interior. It's quite basic in terms of modelling. So the textures aren't up to much. But it's of its time, isn't it? Whoa! I pressed something then, didn't I? All the passengers just threw up. When I went to move the cockpit camera, I obviously imparted some left stick by accident with the keyboard combination. But I pressed the wrong button. So when I said it doesn't look like the view is moving, I was actually imparting left stick the whole time. So is this still got the autopilot on? It didn't kick it off, look. It's trying to intercept for us. So is it going to roll level now? Look at the flight director. Yep, it's doing it. It's just really slow at doing it. Okay. Back under control. Speed's doing a bit better now. Obviously we scrubbed some speed off in that unanticipated corkscrew turn. So the descent rate can be wound out a bit. We've still got the spoilers out to get down in time. You can see the airspeed's holding. It's on idle pretty much on the throttles. So let's have a look at this plan. We'll continue past and then loop back in. So we can reduce the descent rate quite a lot actually. Cairns is just coming into view on the edge of the display now. So we are below 18,000 feet. We need to find the QNH as the destination. 1002 or 2958. 29. Okay, why is that not working? Comma worked, but the adjusted isn't. Oh, it's Barrows, the other side, idiot. 2958. Are these synchronized? No, they're not. That one is though. So the backup altimeter doesn't synchronize with the pilot one, but the pilot one and the co-pilot one are. I think that's in the options. So we're about to come through 11,000 feet on our way down. Plane's turning. So we can see the nav display now. Look, there's Cairns, then we turn slightly right and then loop around for the approach. If we have a missed approach, there's a hold the other side. And I guess then they would give you vectors in the real world to have another go. Okay, 10,000 feet. Oh, switches are here. They're not above in this plane. So landing lights can come on. And we have now got a crosswind of 50 knots. Look at the autopilot crabbing the aeroplane. That's crazy, isn't it? So we need to stay below 250 knots now. Let's go and help the aeroplane do that. And what should it be set? What's it saying up here? 270? What's it talking about? It needs to be 250. Let's help it do it. Throw the spoilers out. The descent rate can come off now too. We don't need to be at 4,000 until we get to Cairns. Let's reduce the range on the nav display. And Cairns was above 4,000, wasn't it? Should we put this into Navigraph so we can see the charts? Copy, although we can see them in the aeroplane, can't we? So what route in was this? It's the Cairns transition for 36 left, although it might not have it, yeah, because we've got the old database, remember, because I hadn't updated the aeroplane. Just to show you what I'm on about, if we go into Navigraph and go to the hub, I haven't updated the aeroplane. Look. In fact, I need to update lots of things. The F-28 as well, I forgot to do that. But you can't do it while the sim's running, of course. So at the moment they don't have accurate nav data. So we're kind of winging it. But that doesn't stop us looking at charts, so let's go and see if we can get the chart up. So unload that plan, make a new flight plan, drop the route description in, and we are looking at the 36 left VORDME using Cairns. There it is. So there's the route. There's the chart for it. So there's no above 4,000 here though, is there? He's just got QT as 1400 for the glide slope. Okay, that's fine. We're just coming in now, look. So we want to change the 111.50 and 358 degrees on the course. Just getting this ready, so we'll have 11150. We could also pull this up here, obviously. It hasn't given us the ILS chart, which is really useful. Navigraph's a bit of a so-and-so for doing that. If you've got an RNAV approach, it won't show you any ILS options. So you end up having to go to the airport, go to the charts, go to the approach, and then go and find the ILS one for the appropriate runway. 36 left, and pin it. And then it's put it out of step. Oh, no, it's done the wrong runway. Sorry. Sorry, I'm hilariously messing this up now. So we want to go and information, open the airport, go to the charts, go to the approaches, 36, both runways, both airports have got a 36 left, you see. There we go. So 111.5, 358 degrees. That's what we were really interested in. So 358. Gone the wrong way around the compass now, just to make things even funnier. So we're just configuring this for the ILS. And 111.5. Do it both sides. There we go. So we've actually should. Has this got a landing system or something appropriate to it? If we go and have a look, there it is. Look, there's the ILS. We don't need it just yet. So we're down to 4,000 feet, just before Cairns, and we want to be descending around the turn. Let's go and zoom in. And let's get the speed under control as well. Let's get down to 200 knots now. So let's use the spoilers to help that happen. We'll sit up a bit as well. Has it got a table of flap speeds anywhere? It's not wanting to slow down, is it? So I've removed the spoilers. Let's go and extend the leading edge. flaps, they've extended. They're really quick, weren't they? So you can see the engines are spooling back. Just takes it a while. Now the speed's coming off. Down to 200 knots. So then we're going to go and command 2,000 feet. And we're going to go and do that with vertical speed to do it. And it's starting to make the turn. And the altitude's coming off. And it's speeding up, which is not ideal. So a few steps of spoiler again. It's a greasy aeroplane, isn't it? It slips through the air really quickly. I suppose we're still quite heavy because we've got an extra bit of fuel, so you can see there's the glide slope. We're still above it at the moment, but we're descending. So 2,700 feet, 2,600 feet,
2,500.
and here comes the glide slope. So we're falling underneath it, so we should be able to go approach mode. We're in the ballpark for it. So let's get speed down to 180 knots. And start to extend the flaps. Get rid of the spoilers now, because with flaps obviously introduce drag. And the gear could probably come down. Should we watch it happen? And put the nose lights on bright. There we go. And another step of flaps. And we've gone above the glide slope. So let's take the autopilot off, and I'm going to... Whoa, what's it doing? It's kicked in the most gigantic amount of aileron roll you would ever imagine. Or aileron trim, I should say. I'm holding on a massive amount of trim. Let's kick the warnings out. Just trimming the aeroplane to death. So we said there was a... where was it? There we go. So we're above the glide slope. And we can see the runway just coming. Look, we're way off. Okay, there comes the centre line. Gonna bust through it to the right side now. Obviously, you were visual with the runway.
1,000.
Let's get back onto the glide slope. Can we get to it before we get there? Those pylons are pretty close to the approach, aren't they?
500. 400.
We're not losing speed here. We've got full flaps, full spoilers.
300.
I'm sitting up quite high, mind, which isn't helping your perception of how high we are.
Sync rate. Sync rate. 100. 50. 40. 30. 20. 10.
Whoa! Don't think I've... That was the strangest physics I've ever seen. So maybe this airplane needs a few updates. because that was like a cartoon character coming in, wasn't it? Something went seriously wrong there. So, someone's asking what happens if we leave the reversers on. I'll tell you in a moment, we'll try it. So if we get some speed up, let's see if we can tip the aeroplane up. So, oh, no, it stopped rolling backwards before. I'll have to leave it in reverse thrust and put the brakes on. No, it managed to hop the front wheel. But yeah, there's obviously a lot to learn. I didn't do a very representative flight at all there with it for you, so we were trying things out all the way. The landing was a bit odd, the takeoff was a bit odd. Yeah, it's going to take a bit of practice to know what the correct procedures are around operating the aeroplane correctly. So landing lights can come back off, nose light can go to dim, and the probes can go to, sorry, strobes can go to the middle setting. That was really odd the way the nose wheel came down. It sort of flew down like an arcade game all of a sudden, which was strange. So yeah, I've got some homework to do on about flying this properly. Obviously we were just throwing it around today and trying things out. But to operate it in a professional manner is a whole different story. I've never been to this airport. I just picked it completely at random to do a flight. It turns out to be quite an interesting one. So we're just coming down towards the parking areas, gates. So this is Harlingen, which is down on the border between the US and Mexico. Go and park next to all the new modern aeroplanes. It is a bit of a crate, isn't it? Okay. Parking brake on. Okay, I'm not going to go through the whole shutdown checklist because obviously you could either use the APU or you could attach external power, and then obviously you can pull the fuel. Let's see what warnings go off actually if we shut the engines down. So there they go. It doesn't even complain, it just pulls the power. It's like pulling the plug out, isn't it? And obviously the warnings are going off like a Christmas tree now. So let's go and press Shift and 5. Let's turn the head tracking off and turn a few things off. I don't know if it's got state saving. I think it might have. In which case I've just made an enormous hole for myself in terms of configuring it properly next time. Pumps need to go off. And actually there's not too much to switch off, is there? Thinking about it. Not up here anyway. Because all of that got switched off after we did it earlier. So we can turn the batteries off. If we go... Where is it? Back down here. We didn't turn that off. Oh, further back. Whoops. I'm not used to the views at all in this. And some of the bits of it are really difficult to get to. There aren't views that get there, so you have to move the view around in the cockpit to do things. Yeah, the rest of it's fine because it's all push buttons. But obviously, yes, I'll need to come back to this because it's frustrating me that I didn't do anything well. So I need to go and have a look at the whole takeoff routine and practice it to see. Like I said earlier on, I think the trick was that you have to essentially manually fly the plane into the parameters you've got configured and get it trimmed. And then when you switch over, it will take over smoothly. But I think that was the trick behind it all. Anyway, if you've been watching along, thanks ever so much for watching along. It was a bit of an eventful one today. Me finding my way again with this aeroplane. Obviously, I've got lots more notes to put into the procedure for it now that will help others. So, yeah, I can put some guidance notes in there at the end, maybe. Okay, I'll see you all again soon. Take care.